5 different iPhone cameras.
Are we going left to right? What's happening?
There you go. See, she's just like her character. It doesn't take a lot of
Tell me
acting
what's
for
up.
her.
Sorry. Not acting. I read all of your
Ziggy's
stuff.
running slow.
I do. I read all of your stuff. So does my mom.
Yep. Oh yeah, I think Sci-Fi Wire wrote this article I wanted to debate with.
Take it up. Now's the time. Take
No.
it up now.
Not like bad debate.
No.
Good debate.
Oh, we're starting to okay, so. All right, Kate.
Yes. I never get the first question.
First one, I guess. All right, so Tenure Training Choreograph. How did that play a role into your character?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic because it's something that I can dip into when I need to, but I don't have to use a lot of conscious effort to create it, which a little bit feels like cheating as an actor, but it's not, and use what you got, so I do. And, you know, it was a big part of my life, so when I need it, and the writers have wonderfully included it, you know, very accurately as well, in the episodes and in her arc and in her stories. So it's just something that's available, and I've been blessed with a show and a writer's room that actually use it.
As we head into the finale and into next season, congratulations.
Thank you.
How will the show continue to honor the original series while also paving its way forward for both your characters and the show itself?
I'm trying to think how I can answer that without giving
That's
away
why you're
too
here.
much. I mean, look, you know, Deborah is part of the family. She's part. You know, she talks to the writers. She's on set all the time, and she's always there to remind us it's sort of the core of the original Quantum Leap: the hope, the history, the heart, and the humanity, and that will never change. And I think as we move forward, and as we put one chapter of the present day story to bed, what we get to do in season 2 is decide what do we want the present day chapter to be, and maybe there's a way that the present day chapter might feel more organic to fans of the original show. Maybe there are things we can explore. I think that's what we're talking about as a room now. You know, the leap will always be the leap. It's the gold of the show. It's the thing I know I've wished for someone to leap into one of my friends and help me on a bad day. The present day is really the fun for us because I think there's so many questions you can ask, and there's so many ways to play a Quantum Leap show. It doesn't have to be a thriller. It can be a romance. It can be a drama. It can be a comedy.
Yeah.
Can be a rom-com.
And that's one of my favorite things about the show too is it's a different genre every episode, and we're always paying homage to something that came before us. And I love that we get to use these reference points to get an idea of what we're trying to create, just a tone that we're all trying to achieve. And it's just endless amounts of fun knowing that there are shows within shows. And so I love that. And I feel like that's our own little mark,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah.
And look, the further you go telling Quantum Leap stories, they naturally start to drift more towards one another. Like, we start to feel more like the original show. The original show will start to, you know, sort of, you'll see more of us in that show. I think that just happens because that's what's so great about what Deborah and Don originally created. They're like a very basic set of rules. Yes, we can go off and be improvisational for a while, but we're eventually going to come back around. You can be like, oh, that's how that ties in.
Yeah. Yeah, it surprises me each time, too. Like, when we start an episode, what's on the page doesn't exactly end up being what's being done in the scenes.
Yep.
And you know, Caitlin's mentioned that this, like, in an episode, the first time I heard the word romp was episode 4.
Yep.
And you're like, this is a romp. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. We're just doing the scene. And then I watched the episode, I'm like, that's a romp. And so it's fun to be able to figure out what it is on the days, too, because your guest actors who play such a big part in each episode, they get huge arcs, and they really inform the tone of the piece, too.
Yeah.
So
Very
it's
much
fun for us to just kind of keep all our senses attuned to what's happening.
What show we're in that day.
Yeah.
wondered if you all talked about the relationship between Ben and Addison, because it seems like it's so much fun to explore. Like, what do you bring to that? How do you explore that?
Why is everyone looking at me?
I
Why did you?
It just looked like you were going to talk
You said a
first.
sound.
I said a
so,
sound.
Yeah, we looked at the sound.
Well, it's just like I don't know. I don't know if I understand the question.
I can start with something.
Thanks.
For me, it's been a really fun arc because I start with zero recollection of anything, and Addison has to tell Ben we're in a relationship. So it's fun trying to build a relationship that has already happened, but you don't know what that was. And so you're having to re-fall in love with somebody. But for me, it's essentially just falling in love for the first time. So I believe there are more complexities that you have to play in knowing that there is a Ben that you knew, but now this is the Ben that you see. For me, I am falling in love for the first time. So it's a fun thing that we get to track, and also we can't touch each other, which is such a huge part. Like, I know my love language is touch, first thing. So not having that is, how do you build a relationship off of that? And so, yeah, we're building it off of like trauma too. So
Yeah.
it's really
An ideal.
specific. Yeah.
Maybe not the most ideal of foundations.
But knowing that, yeah.
We spend a lot of time in the writer's room talking about how to build a strong relationship between two people who can't kiss, can't touch, can't hug, and make it feel like it's a relationship that's actually going through ups and downs as opposed to just the same, one more to go, pal. It's something we spend a lot of time talking about, but ultimately, it's, but ultimately,
High five. Oh, can't do that. Can't do that.
no, but ultimately, like, it does fall to the performers, like you can lay the track out there, but like the magic happens between them. And I think they just, however they've done it, they've managed to completely convince me that they're destined to be together.
Okay, now I have a grasp of the question. I'll dive in now. Yes, because you are having two different relationships, but I do think in long-term relationships, people evolve, and you're not in the same relationship with the same person always. Obviously, and if somebody goes through a big trauma or they lose a parent, they have a kid, like those are big changes, and you have to learn how to now love a new person who has a new set of priorities and a new history. And so there is some similarities to that. Just unfortunately, one person lost a lot of the memories. So I do think there was a relationship that they had, but she's very aware that things are very different. So, she has to absorb whatever this new relationship is going to be. But then, secondly, I think some of my strongest relationships in my entire life have been non-sexual. They've been non-physical. And so the bond you can create is plenary. There's really no limits to it outside of the fact that you're in different. It's the worst kind of long distance relationship on the planet. So there's just so much there, and I do think in a lot of ways the lack of physical culmination, because it always feels like it's a little over in shows, right? When it's like, okay, you're together now. Well, the fact that that's not there means that there's nothing but growth. Like, all we can do is continue to try, and then, we'll figure that out one day. So I think it's a lot. It's a lot available, which is nice.
They try to get together, the writers try to keep them apart.
Yeah, we fight with the writers. I show up to Dean's house. It's a whole thing.
Well, thank you all so much.
Oh,
Do we have one more?
we've kind
I just want to know maybe some of the challenges of essentially playing a different character every episode.
It's just it's just a lot of fun. I think the biggest challenges have come from each inch that they add on to the heels that I have to wear, and the pain that I have to
He
take.
takes it like a pro.
I do my best.
Stilettos, season 2.
Yeah, and like trying to kneel in a pencil skirt. But it's just I got into this to play different characters. This being the macro of acting, right? Like I get to do that with each episode, and so it's a dream. I still get to be myself, but I get to look different. So it's just I get the best of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you make it look awfully easy?
It's just fun.
He's real good.
It's easy when it's fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more